It's official, the next big Pokemon news is coming very soon. Let's take a look. All right, we're back with a ton of stuff today. We've got updates for Pokemon news, official gameplay, as well as leaks, riddles, and much, much more. First things first, Pokemon has tweeted this morning, you read that right, trainers, there is a new trailer dropping at 6 a.m. PDT or 9 a.m. Eastern on 9/7, which is tomorrow. And I'll be live streaming it on my live stream at twitch.tv/adrive. So make sure you guys tune in there if you want to watch the hype watch party that we always have. I mean, we have a blast, honestly, with these things. And I'm excited because there's a lot that they can show here. You know, they just gave us Grafaiai last week. I think there's still plenty for them to show in terms of we haven't gotten anything about Paradox forms. We really don't have a ton of information about the people in the region outside of a few different things like Nimona and that one gym leader. But there's a lot of things that they can reveal. They can even expand on the Terrassal mechanic a little bit more. So very exciting time. I wouldn't expect like starter evolutions or things like that, but I do think we're going to get some new Pokemon, or at the very least new forms. And I think that this will probably be a pretty big trailer, guys, because we're only about 2 months away and they haven't given us a ton of information. So I think it'll be pretty hype. So again, feel free to tune in to my live stream so you can watch that live, and we're going to break it all down and have fun and see what's next for Pokemon. I'm excited. I think this will be a pretty good trailer, especially since they're like hyping it up, saying that it's coming tomorrow. And before I dive into everything else, there's a lot to cover in this video. I want to let you guys know about Elestrals. I have the Elestrals pre-orders available for you guys to pick up prototype starter decks, and those actually end tonight, the day this video goes up, at 8 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to snag one, definitely join the hype. We've been having a blast. We have an incredible community and Discord server and on the YouTube channel and everything like that. And I decided to add in a holographic celebration Nimbug to every single order. So this is it. This is your last chance. You only have a few hours to get in. So check out Elestrals. You can check it out at shopelestrals.com. Pick up your starter deck pre-orders now, because again, they close at 8 o'clock tonight, and this is your last chance to get it until Kickstarter in November. So thanks to everyone who supported, and I can't wait to play against you guys. All right, so a couple things here. We've got PokeBeach reporting on the fact that Lechonk and Eternatus is actually coming to Pokemon Sword and Shield, and that's going to be taking place, it looks like, September 18th to October 1st. So we'll have to wait and see on that, but it seems as though we are going to ultimately get Lechonk and Eternatus finally coming to the game. We got some information about Lechonk and its evolution hint. This is a picture of a white Lechonk with like kind of a red face. We have reason to believe that it is going to be like a white pig with face paint or makeup, so that kind of aligns with that, but we'll wait and see how that progresses. One of the things that's interesting about Lechonk is that it apparently has one evolution, but it's a gender split evolution, much like Pyroar, right? So Pyroar, they're the same exact Pokemon generally, but they have a different physical appearance, and that seems to be the case for Lechonk as well. So just something worth noting there. I don't know if that's something they would reveal next, but I'm very excited for tomorrow. I feel like there's a lot of potential there. The next thing we have here is the Riddler actually making a very interesting comment and says, if Pokemon games themselves had types, I would say Titan, or in this case Scarlet and Violet, is bug/dark. You'll feel it while playing. So Riddler is basically saying, if I were to put types on every single generation, I think the newest generation that's coming out is bug/dark, and then goes on to illustrate what they would name or compare each of the regions to. Kanto being poison, then you've got Johto being rock, you've got Hoenn being water, you've got Sinnoh being steel, Unova being dragon, Kalos being fairy, Alola being psychic, Galar being fighting, and then of course Paldea being bug, impression wise. Now what does this mean? Well, this is just the Riddler's opinion, but nonetheless there might be some things that we can gather from this, and I think that the conclusion is an interesting one. So poison obviously relates to Kanto. There's a lot of poison types there, and you can kind of make your assessments, right? Hoenn, very famous for having too much water, dragon being very relevant in the story of the Unova region, fairy obviously being the focal point of Kalos, and so on and so forth. You kind of tie in some of the legendaries with psychic and fighting. So why bug? Why is bug so important? Well, it turns out that the leaker says that the current build of the game has many wall clipping bugs where you can get stuck. Hopefully they will fix before release. Then goes on to say that he doesn't think the bugs will be fixed before release, and be prepared to save frequently. And this is exactly what the Riddler had posted. He says, remember to save your game. So handful of different posts from the Riddler basically saying, hey, I think this is buggy and that you need to save your games. Now, granted, there's still time. Who knows what kind of version they're playing, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this game have a handful of different bugs and glitches and have them not be fixed for launch. If you guys remember, BDSP leaked early and it was missing files. Like, there was music and stuff missing, and there was so much backlash that they had to actually patch the game prior to it being released. because instead of launching the patch on day one, they had to patch it early because it leaked so much. People were getting so frustrated with how bad the game was functioning at that point. What's gonna happen with this game? I'm gonna hold reservations on this one because again, we haven't played it. We're just going based on what the Riddler says. To me, that's not the end of the world if there's some bugs here and there, but if your game's crashing or freezing, then that's obviously going to be a very frustrating experience. So just wanted to throw this out there. Again, I wouldn't get too excited or too disappointed or anything like that. Let's wait until the game comes out. I feel like you have to. But he also goes on to say that the post game is disappointing. Now, that is not a surprise either, because let's be real, we haven't had a super good post game in Pokemon for a while, and we know that this game is going to feature DLC based on the leaks that we've had, and it makes sense for them to feature DLC, right? Like, there's a lot of potential for them to make extra money and really expand the storyline through the DLC as opposed to doing it through the post game. There's not really an incentive for them to provide a robust post game, but for me, post game is shiny hunting, it's battling, and things like that, which are always naturally inherently in a post game. So it's not the end of the world if the storyline of the post game is not that, you know, robust, but that's just me personally. I know some people really look forward to that. Switching gears to Paradox forms, we've got the Riddler talking about Salamence, saying you're gonna switch one of its typings with chicken, I guess is what this is. If you break this down based on some of the other things they said, this is basically saying that Salamence's typing is basically Hydreigon's current typing, the new Paradox form of Salamence. So it's going to be Dark and Dragon. That's what the new Salamence Paradox form is based on what we're gathering. And Centra actually put out a post talking Paradox forms and their typing and kind of filling in some of the gaps. One of them is wrong, which I'll talk about. Amoonguss is Grass and something, we don't know. Jigglypuff Fairy and something. Mischievous Ghost and Fairy, very cool. VOLCARONA Bug and Fighting, and also a future form of Fire and Poison. Salamence getting Dragon Dark. Donphan getting Ground Fighting and Ground Electric. Very excited for that. Ground Electric is a great typing we've seen on Stunfisk. We don't know about Magneton or Suicune or Virizion. Delibird apparently Ice and Water. Gallade Fighting and Fairy. Hariyama Fighting, but we don't know. We don't know Tyranitar. And Hydreigon, it's the image here says Dragon Flying, but it's actually supposed to be Dark Flying. And we know that because of the post from Riddler about Mandibuzz. So we believe that to be Dark and Flying. So there's a little bit of confusion there, but that should be the case, just so you guys know. So that's kind of the rundown on Paradox forms. And again, I hope tomorrow we get our first glance at a Paradox form. That could be really, really cool. I'm actually quite excited for that. Now, the next thing here, I just want to talk about this. A lot of people sent me this. It's an image of this Primeape, and people said, is this a real leak of Primeape? Did you know, Primeape's new evolution leak? Well, it turns out the artist Bromo Jumbo actually said, hey, listen, you know, this is my art. This is not, you know. What's actually funny is Bromo Jumbo is one of the artists on my project Elestrals, making the trading card game. So I didn't report on this the other day because I saw Bromo's tweet, but still going around the internet, so I want to let you guys know that that was not legitimate. Well, it's a legitimate piece of art, but it's not a real Pokemon. And then the last thing, I think this is so big. Pierre reports on Twitter that Scarlet and Violet pre-orders are actually ahead of the Sword and Shield pre-orders at this time. When we look at this graph, you can see it's days remaining before launch, and you see that Scarlet and Violet is ticking up higher right now than Sword and Shield was. And then you actually look at the trend for Legends Arceus, and it's much higher than where Legends Arceus was. Now, this is a small sample. It's not the full scope of the pre-orders, but it does give us some interesting data here, looking at kind of how people are receiving Scarlet and Violet. And at this moment, it looks very positive for the Pokemon franchise, and they really haven't given us a ton of information yet, so that could very quickly change tomorrow, that's for sure. So that's everything you guys need to know about the news, rumors, riddles, and more, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for an update on that. Don't forget to get your starter decks for Elestrals. This is it. You only have a few hours left to grab them, so head to shopelestrals.com and join the hype. We have an amazing community. We're having a blast playing games. It's going to be so sick, so definitely check it out. And thank you to those of you guys who have supported my project. And I'll see you guys soon with some news and updates tomorrow. It's going to be a great day. I'll see you guys then. Peace.